Generative AI is the worst thing to happen to the arts, to individual craftsmanship, to critical thinking skills, and to personal authenticity in living memory. This is going to be a tough video for me to make, because I spent a couple of years as an early adopter of AI, and I remember being excited by the first open source models that were released. And every year thereafter, I was more and more skeptical of it until I got to this point today. I loathe AI with my whole body and soul, but I know a lot of my viewers use it and rely on it. And if you're one of those viewers, I think you and I relate a lot, actually. If you'll permit me, I want to invite you on a bit of a journey from when I was first introduced to AI, and I loved it, to my current, now, loathing of it. Because once upon a time, I liked it enough to generate images of my D&D party and even hang them up on my wall and frame them. And if you loathe AI and what I just said sent a shiver down your spine, then come watch as I try to make things right. On the flip side, if you're someone who hates AI as much as I do now, I want to ask you to be forgiving of early adopter Daði, because I've since abandoned him, and I am now embarrassed by him. Embarrassed enough that I've put off making this video for months. In May, something happened that forced my hand, and I couldn't put off making this video any longer. I went to the UK Games Expo and found it to be the perfect microcosm of AI in the RPG hobby. In this video, I'll dissect both what happened in UKGE and my own experience with the ever-growing disdain for AI. Welcome to Mystic Arts, where I feel like I'm about to bare myself nakedly in front of all of you, so please be kind in the comments. My name is Daði, I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for a little bit over a decade. On the 31st of October 2025, the UK Games Expo posted multiple sponsored promotional posts for an RPG called Gates of Krystalia that featured AI-generated images in place of art. Both on their website, the article promoting the new Kickstarter, and on their Instagram page, where the comments read, "So I backed their first Kickstarter and I'm so regretting not having done my due diligence and checking that this game intended to use AI. It's incredibly gross and disheartening to see a major corporation like yourself promoting Gen AI slop. This technology is proven time and time again to be abusive to artists, harmful to the environment, and damaging to the mental health of its users. It's insulting to see you elevate this low-effort, misanthropic nonsense, especially given the creators' demeaning and callous behavior in the comments." And most succinctly, AI slop. Yuck. A few days later, Rascal reported on the story, quoting the community reaction in the post, including this quote from Kat, the lore mistress, the creative lead at Hatchling Games on Blue Sky, saying, "Incredibly disappointing from UKGE, and I really hope they think about how many artists, writers, and designers and creators are against the use of AI in the industry and why promoting games and products that use it is pretty poor. But deleting the comments of those pointing it out is insulting." It's important to note that UKGE faced all this backlash and they didn't take action. They were asked repeatedly by the community to update their AI policy, or rather have one, and they never did. Now, by the time I heard of this, I had already secured press passes for myself and AB, and we were headed to UKGE. For us, conventions like this one are a unique opportunity to meet our peers and do some invaluable networking. I cannot count up the value added to the channel from our last UKGE trip, whether that's in sponsor opportunities, possible collaborations on dream projects, or advice I've gotten from people who've been doing this a lot longer than I have. People like us need to go to conventions. But I already knew creators who were choosing to boycott the convention because of the Gates of Krystalia post, or more specifically because of the fact that UKGE hadn't taken any action to correct themselves after the backlash on their lack of an AI policy. But hey, I thought, I've got free press passes, so it's not like I'm giving them any money, and I can just show up and do my networking and avoid giving them free advertising this time around. At this point in the story, a private contractor working for UKGE sent me an email explaining that press passes were given only in return for promotional content. On one hand, I guess that's fair, they're running a business after all, and it's their right to ask for stuff in return for their free passes. But the way press normally works is that you're given access, and in return you cover whatever stories you decide to cover. For example, Wizards of the Coast sent me a copy of Ravenloft: The Horrors Within. There was no demand for content in return, but I chose to make a video biting the hand that feeds. Thanks for the copy, Watsy. Send me your next book too, and I promise I'll be giving honest reviews every time. And besides, I went to school and I studied media literacy, the history of the Fourth Estate, and media ethics. Press isn't free advertising. It's a creed about speaking truth to power for the benefit of the people. and that may sound highfalutin, but in times like these, that creed is more meaningful than ever. In the games industry, that creed means being honest in your coverage, because otherwise you're just doing free advertising. So feeling a little revolutionary, I replied to the contractor's email saying that I'd be happy to participate in positive coverage for free if and only if they clarified their AI policy. I got no response. Now, if you're fairly new to this whole AI debate, let me start by making the case for it and then make the case against it. The case for AI comes down to three primary factors. First, it grants ordinary laymen access to skills they didn't have before. As someone who can't draw, with AI image models, I could now generate images that kind of look like someone drew them for me for free. Two, it can be a useful tool for talented individuals to elevate their productivity, using it as a springboard to disagree with, to get over the empty page or the lack of code, or to help organize their day. Three, like it or not, AI exists and it's here to stay. It's almost entirely unheard of for a technological leap of this magnitude to be invented and then ignored. Computers revolutionized communication, whether we liked it or not. .coms revolutionized commerce. Personal vehicles revolutionized cities. You just can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. Once it's out, it's out. Even harmful technology is here to stay. Despite Chernobyl and Fukushima, there are still 430 operable nuclear power plants in the world. So, AI is here, we better learn to live with it.
Resistance is futile.
But ultimately, my opinion is that we are living in the middle of a technological revolution, and the jury's out on all three of those points. Nobody in 1992 could have predicted that some idiot like me could use the internet to talk about RPGs to 100,000 people for a living. We just don't know. But I also feel that saying we don't know is something akin to refusing the responsibility of thinking critically about what you want, about what your vision for the future is. And with that, let's talk about the case against AI and ask ourselves, what exactly is so bad about AI anyway? Let's start with the most common argument you'll hear about in the RPG space, and then we'll work our way through the other points. To the arts, it's simple. Artists are hurting in a lot of ways, whether that's layoffs or being constantly accused of using AI when they don't, forcing them to constantly share their works in progress to preemptively prove themselves innocent. I have thought of a number of people in my own comment section who have come here to tell me that real art made by a human is AI, despite the mountain of proof to the contrary. To craftsmanship, we've begun treating acts of delicate craftsmanship as if it's a problem to be optimized away, as if the beauty of a handcrafted item isn't inherent to the process by which it was made, and to critical thinking skills, as people outsource their thoughts to a machine, they rely on it more and more and more and more until it becomes a crutch they cannot easily wean themselves off of. To authenticity, we now crave authentic experiences more than ever, but are forced to view nearly all media with a sense of unease and skepticism. But beyond those points, there are the broader effects we can talk about, whether that's water consumption or electricity costs or data center construction, all this at a time when energy prices are reaching global highs due to war, water scarcity gets worse by the decade, and joblessness is on the rise, and we're choosing to add this fuel to the fire. Now, let's say you don't care about artists or the environment. Maybe you care about the fact that these major corporations that make these models are inflating the stock market to the point that 41% of the S&P 500 is now in AI companies. Or maybe you don't think that's a bubble, and you believe that AI will help lift productivity and will all benefit. But at the moment, the only beneficiaries we're seeing are billionaires and now trillionaire tech oligarchs lining their own pockets. Okay, well, maybe you're not concerned about corporate greed and you're a future billionaire anyway. So I'd like to ask, what about the internet Ouroboros? Because the more AI summarizes articles on the Google homepage, the fewer people click through on the web pages that create and fund those articles, meaning less and less of the internet is written by people who verify the data until the inevitable conclusion is that the internet, while it continues to exist, is dead, not an original thought in sight. Now, I personally think that's already a strong argument against. strong enough that I have already forgotten all but the last argument in favor. And so far, I haven't even mentioned Slop, the kind of quickly produced, low-quality AI-generated content that now floods every content creator space. I mean, more and more of the internet is becoming meaningless slop, and it sucks. The internet used to be full of creativity. I mean, it still is, but you gotta go dig for it. In between, you're finding this random nonsense. Seriously, who decides to make a Sherlock Holmes but a cat video game and call it Sherlock Purr? It's obviously Purlock Holmes. If you're tired of AI slop but you want some quality art, beautiful battle maps, character tokens, and art that will inspire you to run an incredible game, you should check out CzePeku, the sponsor of this week's video. They've introduced an Essentials tier, which is available for all existing subscriptions. Previous subscription will now be known as the Premium tier, bring the barrier of entry for people down, providing a more budget-friendly option. The Essential tier gives people access to CzePeku's entire collection of maps, scenes, and tokens. But the Premium tier add-ons now include the animated variations, VTT integrations, and full access to the token builder, if they have tokens in their subscription. I've always been a huge fan of CzePeku. All of their stuff makes me want to run the game, gets me excited, and gets me thinking. It's got a huge back catalog, so you can just go scroll through and find a map that inspires you and fits perfectly for your game. And even if you don't know what next game is, just scrolling through the map list is going to get you thinking. So check out their Essentials tier on the link in the description. Creator passes are provided in exchange for event coverage. This may affect your Creator Pass allocation and future creator opportunities. You know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna ignore that. And if they want to revoke my pass in the future, so be it. I'll go to other conventions. And like, who cares that I studied press ethics? This is just a networking opportunity. Plus, how bad is it? Maybe they're just late to realize what I've already realized. I mean, I've always been an early adopter and I've tried every bit of new tech. If I had the money and if I wasn't a teenager, I would have tried Google Glass just out of curiosity. I tried these things, I really did. I even made portraits of my D&D party members with AI and hung them up on my wall. Why did I do that? I gotta fix that, and I can't be throwing stones with that on my wall. So here I am walking around as a member of the press, and there is AI images on a number of booths. Are we serious? Whatever, it's not my job to cover it. I'm just here to network. And then I notice something beautiful that puts a pep in my step. A majority of the booths had this little red sign that reads, human made, with a big X over AI. There was a grassroots movement on the con floor. Someone went through the trouble of creating these signs and walked across the con, handing them out to booths. It was an insurgency growing from within the con floor, from the vendors who rely on the convention for their living to show the con organizers that they should take a stand. How fascinating. Someone should cover that. All right, fuck it. Bring me the camera.
Yeah, just to reassure everybody that all of my stuff is no AI involved. It's not part of my process. For the organisers of UKGE, they could do with finding out what exactly their customer base feels about it. Because yes, creators, we feel very strongly about this. You know, it's a threat to us and our livelihood. For me as a consumer, I want to know if something is AI so that I can make my own decision, which for me would always be like, oh, not so interested. And it's partially also reassuring any consumers who, like me, would not want to buy something and then find out later that they hadn't realized it was a machine that had made it.
I'm outraged that UKG hasn't set a stance. As the people providing the space for us to be able to show what we make, the ones who decide what is or isn't okay within this space, to suggest that that's fine, suggests also that it's what they care about is their stall fees. That's all they care about. And that's really upsetting because we thought better of them.
This was a project initiated by Fiscal Crits and Rowan Brook and Decker, sponsoring the printing of these really high quality cardstock that stands to signal to the consumers that they don't use AI, and for consumers to know that their potential products are made by humans.
These tools strip away the creativity and use what is effectively stolen assets. If you're going to be using AI in your games, whether it's for writing or for art or for anything else, all you're doing is you're pushing other creatives out of the industry. And that means that now less people are able to be a part of that world. And that's a terrible shame. And for what? For what benefit?
there's enough stock out there, you know? The argument tends to be new designers entering the market, and I've only been doing this 5 years, and a lot of the zines on my stall are tiny, and they're art by me or my partner. They're rough things that we've put together, very DIY, and they sell just fine. So I don't really buy the argument that new creators need AI in order to be able to get into the space because of the effect of art selling games. I'm also a software engineer, so I kind of know that it works just by aggregating and taking the average of something. And I think it's a neat trick that AI can do in illustration, but I don't find it emotionally gratifying.
Sometimes boycotts in the terms that I won't go to UKGE or convention might not help. Conventions might be slow on making clear their policy preemptively or reactively. So it's important to just make our own stance very clear, and we're encouraging everyone, if they have a stance, make it really clear. We hand these out completely free to anyone that wants some, and also gives a more uniform front that's saying we're in this together as a community, both creators and consumers.
Did you notice that background poster behind her? I didn't until after we finished the interview, but it was a big AI banner for someone's game. That booth was empty with no visitors for the whole convention. I passed them a number of times and I never saw anyone there. But everyone flashing these little red signs, they were doing well. People want to know that the stuff they're buying was made by passionate people excited about their game. So am I mad at UKGE? No, not really. I understand where they're coming from. They're worried about whether or not AI bans are enforceable, and I get it, but I think it's important that they take a stand along with the artists that make that convention home, that they show solidarity to the creatives who work so hard at making games to show them off at UKGE. And since I've been on the other side, someone who used AI, and I know I came around to the right side of the issue, I really want them to do the same. So, I want your help. We are going to convince them together, but we're not going to convince them by being rude or mean. I want to win their hearts. They have on their website a Contact Us form. Let's politely ask them to clarify their AI policy. More specifically, let's tell them how much it would mean to us if they were to take a stand with us. And I cannot stress this enough, we're going to be nice and polite, folks. I don't want angry mobs or hatred or vitriol, not least of which because this contact inbox is probably managed by real people who may feel exactly the same as we do about AI. But I want to do something because I'm sick and tired of seeing AI invade our hobby, and I want them to ban it from the con floor. But we're trying to be convincing, and anger is never convincing. So I'm going to pick a subject, website, and I'm going to write down the following message. Dear organizers, please publicly clarify your AI policy and that you won't be allowing AI at your future conventions. This really makes a difference in me wanting to support you. Thanks. And I'm going to sign it because a gentleman puts his name on any statement he believes in. I've put a link to this contact page in the description and also the message itself. And if you're willing to politely inform them of how important this is to you, go do the same. You can even copy paste my message and send it as is. If you are someone who's looking to use AI in your product, and my argument hasn't convinced you so far, and the argument of everything happening at the convention also didn't convince you, let me give you one more cautionary tale, because even if you're okay with the horrific environmental impact, the additional water cost, the economic danger, the internet Ouroboros, the war profiteering corporations, or the constant witch hunts that artists now live under, you are only serving customers who are also okay with all those horribly damaging realities, which immediately takes your little niche of RPG content and shrinks your customer base. And then you're also trying to sell AI-generated products to people who like AI. Those people won't buy your product because they can generate it themselves. So you've shrunk your niche customer base even further. And let's say you're okay with all of that too. Now let me ask you one more thing. If you choose to use AI in your product, you are communicating only one thing to your prospective audience and customers when they see the AI, because they're gonna tell. And when they see it, all they hear is you telling them that you don't care about the product. You didn't care enough to make it. If nothing about AI bothers you already, I just want you to know that when you use it, you look like you're cheap and lazy. And people will assume you're cheap and lazy, and they will assume your work, your content, your everything is cheap and lazy as well, and they won't care what you have to say. Because if you don't care, why should I? And that's the bottom line. That's what I discovered at UKGE. I saw countless booths on the convention floor. Every single booth that had AI images on display was empty. There were booths that were crowded, had long queues, had people bumping shoulders to look at artisan dice or handcrafted plushies or special clothing, wood-carved dice trays, RPG books, minis, you name it. Those booths were packed. And next to them, nestled in between them, in between all the busy booths, there were AI images on display for some Slop product. And nobody queued up for them. Nobody interacted with them. Nobody gave a fuck about those products. And why would they? Everything about the booth already communicated one thing clearly. I don't care about my own product. And the apathy is contagious. From the AI creator into the image generator into my eyeballs. Everyone at the convention sees the big AI image and understands immediately, oh, you don't give a fuck about me having a good time, so I don't give a fuck about you or your slop. Don't get me wrong, there's always been slop. AI didn't invent half-assing something. It used to be kind of tough to spot slop-like RPG products. I know I've bought a few not worth the paper they're printed on, but now, at least the AI creators do us the favor of advertising their apathy on the cover. If you're a creator, don't be one of them. Because care, love, and excitement is contagious too. You have a choice. Do you want to spread apathy or excitement? I would choose excitement every single time. Which brings it back to me and my journey. And before anybody asks, no, I've never used generative AI in any of the Patreon stuff we make. All our products are human-made. I have, however, once used AI in the video production here on YouTube. This is our original channel backdrop. It was AI generated the day we launched the channel. I was in a rush and I convinced myself AI was the only way to get it done within the time frame I had set myself. And it stayed a part of our visual identity way longer than it should have or had any right to. Longer than I'm willing to admit. I think it's my biggest regret with the channel. A fellow creator called me out on it and I was so embarrassed I immediately opened Photoshop and made this new background in about 20 minutes by photobashing open source images together. It cost nothing, took no time at all, and it looks way better. Meaning my earlier excuse about timeframes was absolute bollocks. I was wrong. I regret it. That one image was the last thing I ever made with Gen AI, and I intend to keep it that way. But I'm not done punishing myself for this because that one image isn't what haunts me every day. It's these ugly things. Before I started my current campaign, I generated images of the party and stuck them on an empty bit of my wall. I had them printed and framed, something I would never do today, never. In fact, I am really upset at myself that I did. I thought it'd be nice to have the names attached to faces on the wall to get everyone used to looking at their fellow characters. I didn't need that. I even put them in a video once, and the comments rightly called me out on it, and I ended up editing that part out of the video in the YouTube editor because I hated those images. And I hate them more and more every day. I even got sent fan art of these heroes to replace the images on my wall. This was back in the early days of the channel, and for some reason I didn't do it. So despite all that, they remained up on my wall until now, haunting me every time we play a session in this room. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to make things right. I commissioned original art from an artist over the internet. AB found them on Reddit where their username is Mercurial, and you can also find them on VGen as Mercurial42. Their info is up on screen now, and we'll also post it in the description. We sent them a huge Google document filled with character references and got back some of the most heartful, gorgeous pieces of art that I could have imagined. They captured not just the look of the player characters, but the spirit and soul of them as well. So I took down the old ugly AI images and replaced them with handcrafted art. And it's what I should have done from the get-go, but apparently, sometimes we've got to burn ourselves in the hot stove to learn that it's hot. And listen, if a tech fiend like me can fully shed their AI curiosity and embrace human art, you can too. I spent ages sitting on the fence and I regret it. And I know the UK is sitting on the fence right now. They could have made a call, but right now they're choosing not to get involved. But there are so many issues we face today where fence sitting just isn't good enough. So for me, I'm taking this final step in abandoning the fence to join my artist friends on the left side of the fence, the side opposed to the tech oligarchs. And now that I've done that, I want to reach out a hand to UKGE and invite them with me. No hard feelings. Come over and join us, and I can't wait to come over next year when all of this has been cleared up, and when you and I have both officially embraced humanity over AI, because that's what this hobby is about. It's about abandoning the screens, the video games, and the isolation of the post-social media world, and sitting around a table and empathizing with humans by looking them in the eye and forming a human connection through shared fabricated memories, and it's the best thing in the world. Don't soil it by letting the computer wrestle your creativity out of your hands. It's already taken enough from you. Let this one hobby live in the analog. And that is where we're going to pick it up next time. This channel is run by me and my girlfriend, Dog. If you're feeling especially generous, you might go commission an artist today and support human art, or subscribe to a creator who's working hard at holding back this unending wave of supposedly unstoppable innovation. And until next time, keep studying the mystic arts.